Hello, hello. My name is Linda, also known as Torta Jala around the internet, and I love creative journaling and all things stationery. And today I wanted to share my process of setting up my June bullet journal monthly wrap up pages. The papers I'm going to be using to decorate are the June vacation travel papers that I designed and posted for my Ko-fi members to download and print out. It is a mix of like illustrated elements with a bit of like vintage travel vibes as well. So check that out if you're interested. Basically, every month I post a video of myself setting up these monthly bullet journal pages to serve as like a review or wrap up for each month of 2025. It's something that I'm trying out for the year so that after 12 months, I will have like all these monthly highlight pages that I can just flip through really quickly rather than doing like obviously if you do a daily journal but that would be like 365 pages and you're not getting like that summary, that sort of bullet point highlight kind of thing. So I'm just trying this out to have like a high level kind of snapshot of memories to flip back on and to see if I like this sort of setup. I, I won't know until obviously I have at least like a year that I can see and like flip back on. I obviously do other kinds of memory keeping as well, and I'm not stopping those. This is just something new for 2025. So the first thing I'm going to do is just trim out all of my pretty pattern papers and matching journaling cards. I really love using all kinds of like pattern papers and especially digital downloads because they're so convenient. Like you just download, you have a copy on your computer, and you can just print what you want. You can also print at a larger size or a smaller size. I'm just printing with my regular home printer on regular printer paper set at the best quality setting for my HP printer, and I get really good results. I think that printing on regular printer paper, it's actually better almost than using like cardstock or like scrapbook papers because it's less thick, so it's not going to bulk up my like bullet journal as much as actually using like pre-printed scrapbook papers, even though of course those are nice as well. So I usually use digital papers and I'm printing like two on a page, as well as printing out any like coordinating journaling cards or embellishments. And what I do first is just trim everything out first because then I have everything like ready to go and it just makes it easier to work with in that way. So my bullet journal is an A5 notebook therapy journal, and I'm actually filming this particular video very early on because I'm going to be on summer vacation with my kids and traveling internationally for quite some time. So I'm trying to get things like set up early if possible, and that way it's ready for me when I get back. I did contemplate doing all of this just like later, but obviously, you know, um, it's worse to feel like behind than to set things up early on, even if I have to fill it out later, because obviously I can't fill out pages of highlights and things until the month actually happens. But yeah, I think it's just better to set it up first and have it all ready for when we return in August. So if you're watching this video, we are on vacation right now. Um, I think that doing it early on just makes the process easier. And so, what I'm going to do is just set up all these pages month to month, like so that they're ready to go. And when I come back, really, I'm just um, going to need to like jog my memory and write up all the highlights, like fill everything in. So, it will be very easy to be caught up, so to speak. So for the printable papers, I basically use them as decoration, either for the background of my pages or just like around the different places where I'm going to use the journaling cards. I don't want to use up like too much space because obviously we need room for the actual content of the pages. So really each month, all I'm doing is creating an opening page for the month just to like label it as that month and putting in some like deco and that kind of stuff. And then the following pages hold the journaling cards that I've designed that I basically fill in for every single month. So the pattern papers, sometimes I use them um, almost like a full sheet to create a background for my page. But this time around, I decided I didn't want to cover up the entire page. So I'm just going to use like ripped up little pieces on the corners of my page. And so it's just like less pattern all over. And of course, this makes it so that your sort of stretching your supplies as well because you're not taking up so much of the page and like really just layering over them and you don't even see. But generally, it's more white on the page. And I actually don't write directly onto my bullet journal pages, but for those of you who do, it obviously makes more sense because you're going to want more of the white space that where you need to actually write and put your content as opposed to have like deco, everywhere. I think it looks a little more balanced too, like color and white space. So I'm going to create the opening page for the month on the left, and I use um, a Dymo label creator to label the month and also like a date stamp. And this page is pretty much just entirely decorative because all it does is serve as like a page marker for the month itself. So it just lets me get a bit creative and I can use all of my supplies and decorate freely. I think it's one of the most fun parts of doing these monthly pages. And I think a lot of people do like creating their monthly, like sort of opening pages or like transitional pages. It just acts as a nice separation, right, from month to month. And I want to keep things really simple and relaxed. So I'm just like ripping my papers. I'm not really measuring or anything. Um, I think that the organic feel of like the ripped papers, it just makes it so that you don't have to be so exact, like in trimming. Even when I use like a paper trimmer or try to be exact, it never turns out like completely straight. So I feel like I just do the opposite of just being sort of like off or off center or something like that because then it makes it so that you don't have to be super exact. And that makes the whole process just more relaxed and carefree. Obviously, we all want, pretty journal pages at the end of the day, but I try really hard not to focus on like the end product and really just to dive into the process of creating something, moving my hands, and enjoying the time that I spend on these like crafty, creative things and just playing with pretty papers. So after the monthly like opening page, I label it and everything, and um, by the way, the Dymo label maker, I'm using like a really old school, like manual one that has like the roll of tape in it and you're like usually using your hand to like squeeze it and make the imprint. I just think it looks so cool, like vintage. And obviously the black label tape is the classic one and looks very distinctive, but they actually do have other colors. So if you don't like black, they have like pastels, metallics, all kinds of colors that you can choose from. So it's a really fun way and really expensive sort of like um, label maker, like stationery supply that you can use in your journaling that, adds like some nice texture and something different, to your pages. And all of the pages that I'm creating, they're basically very similar, like month to month, even because I want to keep it sort of consistent since I'm logging like the same type of information. I think that just makes it um, easier to digest, right, as you're flipping from month to month. So the information and layout is pretty uniform, but maybe there might be some shifts on, exactly where I put it on the page. But I am using, of course, different pattern papers and different stickers and things to make it a little fun and to shake things up as you flip from spread to spread, page to page. Um, I think that you can think about using papers in like different areas of the page, and that can help mix things up, whether you're using it to cover the entire background of a page, or maybe only in the corners, or only bordering the top or the sides. Like that just makes it already so much more different. And I'm using the same set of journaling cards on top to record all the highlights for every single month. So that sort of creates the consistency for the entire year. Um, Usually, I also have a lot of papers and tidbits and things left over from setting up these monthly pages. So I definitely save all of those for my other journaling and scrapbooking um, notebooks. And I do have a little pouch where I pretty much slip all of like the loose papers and things into and try to like use up all the stuff in that pouch. So for my actual documentation on these pages, I'm just filling in the journaling cards really with bullet points every month. And it's just sort of like a nice exercise at the end of the month where you think about, okay, what happened? Like, what am I currently into? What are the highlights? What should I pat myself in the back for? And what should I try working on moving forward? And so I'm going to trim out the journaling cards just so that I have them ready to go. But I usually keep all of this stuff loose and I don't glue anything on until I actually write out my bullet points at the end of the month. That way I can judge like how much space do I need or if I can like overlap embellishments or things like that over certain parts if there's not that much writing on a particular journaling card. So the journaling cards I'm using to document, they are labeled. They say currently highlights good job and let's try. And those are journaling cards that I designed for myself, but I have posted them for free download in my Ko-fi shop. So if you're interested, just go to that link and the first page of the download has these journaling cards with the labels and the second page has like the same journaling cards with this sort of like old vintage paper feel, but they're completely blank without the labels. So you can definitely use this design in other types of journaling in general, or you can like create your own titles for your like monthly highlight pages, or obviously just for any other decoration or embellishment in your journaling. I hope that that is helpful. So thank you so much for watching my video. Check down below for the links to the free journaling cards, or if you want to join my Ko-fi membership, or just grab some free printables off of my blog. I've been posting totally free printables on my blog Tortajala for many, many years. So I definitely encourage you to check it out if you want to experiment and start using some printables in your journaling. If you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more stationery videos. Thank you again. I very much appreciate you being here and supporting me. I hope you have a lovely day, and until next time, bye.